Hey guys, welcome to this video where we are going to go over the speaking section, and I'm going to first break down the different scoring parameters that the PTE Academic has for the speaking section. So it's scored on three main parameters for the speaking section. The first is oral fluency, the second is pronunciation, and the third is content. On oral fluency, you're scored on a scale of 0 to 5, on pronunciation as well on a scale of 0 to 5, and on content, it varies based on the question that you get in the exam. So if you have a good understanding of how this scoring parameter works, you can basically do well in all the sections of the speaking section. So pay close attention here. We're going to go into detail on how the automated scoring looks at all these three parameters and what you can do to maximize your score as well. So let's get started with the oral fluency, which is based on our experience of dealing with various test takers, the number one area that you can focus on when it comes to improving your score in the speaking section. Now let's look at what does Pearson consider to be a score that's rated very high on the oral fluency scale for the PTE academic exam. Now as per Pearson, speech that shows very smooth rhythm and phrasing, and if you have no hesitations, repetitions or false starts or non-native phonological simplification, then you are rated high on the oral fluency scale. So we're going to break this down in a bit more detail so you know exactly what you need to do in the exam to maximize your score in oral fluency. So there are three factors that make speech fluent. This is based on a research paper that Pearson has published on their website, and they have used their automated scoring mechanism is based on this research paper. So if you understand this clearly and if you implement that in your recordings, we've tested this out and we see that people can score like up to 90 on oral fluency if they just keep these key things in mind. So there are three main factors that Pearson is looking for when they analyze your voice and they're looking to assess you on oral fluency. The first is breakdown fluency, the second is speed fluency, and the third is repair fluency. Okay, so within oral fluency, they're looking at these three parameters. Now let's go into those three parameters in a bit more detail. So breakdown fluency measures the number of fill pauses, the number of silent pauses, and the duration of your pauses as you speak. So normally in English, as you speak a sentence, you do not have too many pauses mid-sentence unless there's a comma or you have a slightly longer pause where there's a full stop. But other than that, you usually do not have too many pauses mid-sentence as you speak. So as per that study published, they've seen that the more the number of pauses that you have mid-sentence as you're speaking, the lower you are perceived to be in terms of fluency. So if you tend to have too many long pauses as you're speaking mid-sentence between words, then you're going to be rated lower. So say for example, a sentence, today is a beautiful day. Now if I say it in that way, today is a beautiful day, there weren't too many pauses in between. But if I slow it down and if I have more pauses, for example, today is a beautiful day. So when I said it in the second instance, I took more time to say it. There was more gap between each word as I was speaking it, and the more the amount of silent pauses that you have, the lower your score goes in terms of oral fluency. So keep that in mind when you are giving your recordings for different sections. The second one is the speed fluency, and they look at the mean syllable duration. So this is basically how long you take to complete a portion of text. Now what Pearson's software does is they're comparing your rate of speech to that of a native English speaker. So if you take 35 seconds to complete a portion of text, say for example in the read aloud, and if they've given that same text to a native English speaker and the native English speaker takes 25 seconds to complete that portion of text, you are going to be rated lower on the oral fluency scale. So your rate of speech is a very important factor as well. We've seen that people who have a slower rate of speech, they tend to do very poor in the oral fluency part of the exam, and the speaking scores go down. So in case you have low scores in the speaking section, we've seen that improving your rate of speech is one of the best things that you can do to improve your score in a very short amount of time. As we go to the read aloud, I'm going to give you like specific timings based on an example, and we've tested that out, and if you follow that, the chances of you getting low on oral fluency is very low. So breakdown fluency, the number of pauses mid-sentence; speed fluency, how how long you take to complete a portion of text. And also within speed fluency is how long you are taking to complete a word. So say, for example, today is a beautiful day, and a wrong way of saying it would be today is a beautiful day. So where I have too much emphasis on the word beautiful, instead of saying beautiful, I say beautiful, where I've kind of stretched out that word. So if you see yourself doing this as you are recording yourself, then make sure to correct that and not to stress too much on any particular word. Okay, the third factor is repair fluency. Now this is the number of corrections and repetitions that you have as you are giving your answer. This is more so of a case for the describe, image and retell lecture, where you are talking on new topics that you heard for the first time. So any time during your speech, if you have a hesitation such as or if you are correcting yourself, so say you start off a sentence, you say in this image, and then you start over again and say in this image I'm going to talk about. So if you have that double repetition of a word or phrases, then that goes against you as well. So they're looking at the hesitations that you have and the number of times that you correct or repeat yourself as you speak. So each time you hesitate or each time you repeat yourself, your scores go down. Okay, so those are the three main factors to look at. First is the number of pauses that you have mid-sentence as you speak. Second is how long you are taking to complete a portion of text, and third is the number of corrections and repetitions that you have as you are speaking. And also with regards to the first point, where it's the number of pauses, if you are speaking slowly, you're going to have a lot of pauses naturally, but if you speak at a conversational rate of speech, then automatically the number of pauses that you have mid-sentence goes down. So that's why, like, improving your rate of speech, especially if you're currently speaking too slow, is a quick hack to kind of improve your score in the oral fluency. And in the next section, in the read aloud, I'm going to give you exactly how long you should be taking to complete a portion of text along with an example. Okay, moving on to the next slide, we look at, now that you understand the different parameters that Pearson look at when it comes to oral fluency, we're going to look at, okay, why does disfluency occur and what you can do to improve upon it. So disfluency occurs as you frame a sentence, you first need to think about, okay, what do I need to say? So this is called conceptualization. So for example, you look at a graph and you figure out, okay, I need to talk about, if it's a graph that talks about, say, televisions and how long people are watching it, you need to figure out first, okay, I'm going to talk about television and how long people are watching it. And then you also need to figure out, okay, what are the right words that I need to use to form a good sentence. So the types of word choice and the vocabulary that you use is kind of the second step of that process. And the third step is articulation, where you generate a plan to kind of put that together into a meaningful sentence. So all these three steps, it takes time to kind of process through each of these steps. And that's, if you struggle at any one of these steps, it's going to cause disfluency, and you're going to pause in your answer, you're going to have hesitations, you're going to use fillers, and those are the kind of issues that Pearson are looking for in your recording as they are analyzing your speech. So, okay, now that we know the different parameters that Pearson is looking at, we know why does this fluency occur, let's look at what you can do to improve upon it. The first and the most important thing that you can do is simply practice more. Now, speaking fluently, especially talking about new topics that you've seen for the first time, is a skill that can be learned. So even if you are bad at this currently, just be aware that if you keep practicing, you are going to see improvements in this field over a period of time. I personally was very bad when it came to oral fluency when I was taking the PT academic exam, and just by putting in some practice over a period of a month, I see improvements. Even like within the first week, as I did it every single day, I could see that I was much more fluent in what I was saying. Whereas before I started, I used to get stuck and I used to have a lot of hesitations. So it's a skill that can be learned. Keep that in mind. The second point is to know what to say. So like we said, a lot of those hesitations, disfluency occurs when you need to think about what to say and when you need to come up with a structure. So if you have a predefined structure or sentences that you can plug into sections such as the describe, image and retell lecture, it can make it really easy. And we have some great structures for the describe, image and retell lecture. that I'll be going over when you're viewing videos for those sections. So make sure to use those sentence stems that I'm about to present to you soon. We've seen test takers that if you use those sentence stems, the chances of you having those hesitations and thinking about what to say, it goes down. So if you're struggling with fluency right now, then make sure to check that out in the coming tutorials. Some further researches that they published, this is additional to what the research that the scoring mechanism is based on. They looked at the variability of pauses. So they've seen that an increase in the number of pauses, an increase in the silent duration. So the more number of pauses that people have as they speak, it negatively affect the perceived fluency judgment. So people perceive people who had too many pauses to be less fluent, and on the contrary, they also seen that if you have fewer pauses, you are more fluent. And they also checked that with speed, if you slowed down native English speakers' speech and you presented it to assessors, it resulted in lower fluency judgments. And even if they took non-native speakers and they sped up their rate of speech, people perceive them to be higher in fluency judgment. So that's like something that's that Pearson uses in their scoring mechanism. That's why speaking at a slightly quicker rate of speech works, and it's the quickest way to improve your speaking score based on testing it with different students. A quick note on phrasing is to use punctuation and full stops for guidance. So normally, as I said before, when you're speaking, do not have pauses unless there's a comma or there's a full stop, right? And make sure you understand the meaning better, especially in sections such as read aloud. Make sure you understand the content, and then once you speak based on that understanding, you automatically have the correct phrasing and pausing wherever necessary. We'll go into a bit more detail in the coming videos for the read aloud. But just to wrap it up, 3 factors for oral fluency: the number of pauses that you have, how your rate of speech, and the number of hesitations that you have. And like I said, improving your rate of speech is the #1 thing that you can do to improve your score in this section. And practice and using those sentence stems, which you'll see in the coming lectures, will help you solve this problem of not having fluent speech. So that's it for this video. In the upcoming video, I'm going to take a deeper look at pronunciation before we dive into the individual topics. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video soon.